There's always some delighting in this motherfucker.
But none of this was a smoking gun. The only way to know for sure how Shelley died was to exhume her body and do an autopsy. 2 months after Shelley's death, the family's urging, her body was pulled out of its grave and re-examined. Detective Rosenthal was in the room.
What are you seeing, thinking?
Going live. Huh? Just close the door, please. All right. Test. All right, the audio's good. I realized why the last mic kept cutting out. It's just a piece of shit. Welcome. To anyone joining us, welcome. Joining me. It's Saturday night, but I bet a lot of people are home after the 4th of July, so I figured maybe I'll start a live. Chat with some of you fine folks.
Prosecutors finally became convinced they had enough to persuade a jury. In November 2015, Shelley's sister got word from the district attorney's office.
She said, we're about to arrest your cousin for the murder of Shelley.
I want to check in with any of my viewers and get some feedback on the previous videos that I posted. Can you guys hear me okay? Anyone in here? Got 3 people in here. All right.
So I can tell you that on December 31, I said, I'm not leaving until they take Shelley's body out. And when I was a child, I said, I would be there every single day.
About to go live. I'm thinking about anyone that's joining, curious about your thoughts on some video topics that I am debating about right now. As always do this.
Prosecutors admitted the case wasn't a tidy one ready for CSI. They put a lot of circumstantial evidence in front of the jury.
I mean, that's a circumstantial case. What are they going with this jury? What they're going with the one is that access was like
She. Oh wait, how do you pronounce?
and his last
How do you pronounce your name there, pal? Is that Chayation Briam? Very interesting name. Where is that from? You have a bit of good commentary. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you. I got some more coming out too. I'm trying to skip the Bronx. I got all these Bronx stories. I'm trying to skip them. I can't. I had enough of the Bronx for a little bit. I gotta go to some other neighborhoods in New York. So yes, of course. I want to expand. I plan to expand. The real goal is to be all over the U.S. and perhaps the world. But step by step, I'm in New York, so I'm doing the New York stories. But I'll be outside of New York soon. New Jersey, probably then Philadelphia, Baltimore, all up down the East Coast, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Next video is actually a Harlem story. And
He believed he would gain control over a $5 million estate if she died. But then Matt found some emails Shelley sent just 2 days before her death.
She reaches out to a
And then
and also tells several people that she wants to change her will, essentially write on the will.
The state said that's when God snapped and hatched his plan. United
well,
decided
when by expanding, what do you mean? Do you mean other topics, non-crime?
nervous when they first met after she was looking around overnight and to ask her what the problem that something was wrong. She was worried and nervous, as for the boy's skyrocketed.
I mean, the genre of my channel is crime. Yeah. Well, I've done. I don't just do the mob. I do kingpins. I do gangsters, hustlers. Um, I'm gonna be hitting some Asian gangsters soon. I did the Italians. I'm doing a lot. I got a lot of Hispanic stories because so many his Latino gangs and his have been operating here for a long time. But the Italian mafia really is endless. But um, I prefer to mix them. What up, Be More? Be More 217.
The prosecution called the New York State medical examiner. In the autopsy, they noticed those scratches on her face. That fractured jaw was put down.
Be More is, I was just talking about expanding and definitely as many stories as there are in Baltimore. I don't know too many Baltimore stories, to be honest. But Jay, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Shelley's death. That's not to the head. It was through his 12-year-old daughter's email account.
I mean, the amount of stories
But no, I have.
every city has. Every city has their own legends. Well, every big city at least.
I swear. Because ever since, when he did the tablets after it was found with her phone, what father was that?
I got a couple.
Prosecutors didn't get that note he committed into trial.
I got a couple more kingpins on the way. Some. I try to cover the people that there is at least nothing on yet on YouTube or very little on. But it's hard to be the first all the time, the first to do a story. But I have a couple. If I hopefully I get them done soon, but I will be the first to put a YouTube story about a couple guys. So one, two, three. I got about three scripts on the way that no one else has done on YouTube, and hopefully it stays that way between now and the time that I upload it. So
It's faster, and no one else in the tri-state has anything like it. Phone can't change the weather. Something cool will keep you prepared. Because the most important thing on our radar is you. This is our home, and there's nowhere like it. But when the weather turns,
the Mormon Mafia in
we'll
Vegas.
get you through it. With the most
I can't say I'm familiar. The Mormon
the
Mafia.
most important thing on our radar.
Are we talking like you're not talking? Are we talking Mormon like the Mormon religion, or is it just a kind of a play on the title, the Mormon Mafia? You got that? Been there, done that. You got that. It's weird how that works on YouTube. I tried that before, and it's a little. I did try that. Talking religion. Are we talking when you say the Mormon Mafia? Are you talking about just the Mormon religion, how they kind of operated like a criminal organization, or are you talking about something different? Talking about the Mormon religion that's basically a bunch of bullies who brainwash people. The Mormon Mafia. I mean, listen, I could do religion. I could do anything. I always stay neutral. I don't. You can't as when you're doing uh, documentaries, when you're reporting, you can't take sides. You have to be neutral. So I mean, if I touched on religion, I wouldn't be trying to shit on anybody. I'd just be reporting the facts. You know, whether it's Mormon, whether it's Judaism or Christianity, Hinduism, if there was some kind of story related to that, I'd present it in a reputable manner. I wouldn't be ruffling any feathers. But I don't know anything about the Mormon Mafia, but I can look into it. Trying to cover the. I do have one story that's completed that's out of Los Angeles. And I may be actually going out to Los Angeles for pleasure in the near future, and I may shoot it while I'm out there. So we'll see about that. Maybe I'll just put like 2 days aside to shoot it, but then the rest of it will be vacation. We'll see about that. It's a really, really good story. I won't give it away.
Their long-distance relationship progressed in fits and starts. They got to play backgammon all night. Deborah would drive him home down south to tournaments, sometimes picking up Rod in New York and taking him with him. Then, one day in 2010, the police paid her a surprise visit. And to know
I got. What do you? What do you? When was this taking place? The Mormon Mafia. Are we talking about back in the day? Are we talking about like the 50s and 60s? Uh, gotcha. Okay, Howard Hughes. The the uh, the airplane magnet. Howard Hughes had a severe case of OCD, and I am familiar with OCD.
she also saw terrible fights that he had with his parents. By 2012, one of his children were living with his parents in New York City suburbs.
Vegas was a Mormon colony in the 1800s. Interesting. That I didn't know. I always thought of Vegas as kind of like first Wild West type. I didn't really think of it as the Mormons.
Eventually, Rod's parents evicted him, and Hopkins did. Rod was determined to strike back. Decker says he hatched bizarre plots to
Jimmy
convince his
Knapp
parents.
Jr.
Jacob wrote about when he drug
Yeah, I
Rod to
know. I know
Vegas.
about Jimmy Knapp, but I don't know. I don't think I've any watched any documentaries. Hey, what's up, Petey? Much love, Petey Rican in the building. Thank you. Working on some more. Yeah, I'll check it out. There's a lot of people. I personally try not to watch any. I don't personally try not to watch any content creators' videos because I don't want to. If I decide to do a video, I don't want to. I really don't want to use anyone else's research. I want to find out everything on my own. But if I watch someone else's video, I may remember it and I may subconsciously repeat it. So I don't watch videos until after I completed my own. So I want to use my own sources to get information. Brazen, what you think happened to the three NI that died in jail charged with Junior's death? Oh, it's interesting. I was thinking about that recently. So to anyone who's in the chat, Roy DeMayo's brother is talking about. Many of you may remember it was 2019 when a young kid named Junior Guzman in the Bronx was chased by a bunch of Trinitario gang members. He was chased. It was a case of mistaken identity. They were chasing someone that they thought was with a rival gang. They chased this poor kid into a grocery store. They dragged him outside, and then this one kid, they beat on him, but then the one kid stabbed him in the neck, and it was that was the fatal blow that severed Junior's jugular, and by the time he got to the emergency room right up the street, he was already almost dead. So this kid's name was Honaiki Estrella Martinez, and he was found dead in his prison cell 4 days ago. And this is the kid who this is probably one of the most hated man in New York for years. And my take on that is that I don't feel any pleasure. I mean, I don't feel happy that this guy Honaiki who killed Junior wound up dead in his prison cell. People are like, well, it's karma. Um, everyone's applauding it. Everyone's like, yes, thank God he got his karma. And I look at it like this: nobody won. Nobody won here. There's no winners here. I mean, you think about this kid Honaiki. You go back to his early days, and what did he go through with his family? With neglect, maybe with abuse, with no father that led him to join a gang. And then you find he joins a gang and he's trying to fit in and make a name for himself, and he stabs a kid in the neck who turns out to be the wrong kid. He kills him, gets sentenced to life without parole, and then they reverse the sentence. He got 25 to life, and then he dies in his prison cell at age 31. I mean, you look at the life that kid led. There's really it's tragic. His life is as tragic as Junior's death. I mean, it's a tragedy on all ends. I mean, there's no winner. That guy went down as the most detested and vile human being and died at 31 while in his prison cell. And then on the other side, you have a 15-year-old kid who died in innocent. I don't want to say hero, but you look at him, 15 kid. He died at 15, and it's a tragic ending for a 15-year-old, and he's almost immortalized as this 15-year-old for the rest of his life who was killed for doing no wrong. You know what I mean? And you look at this guy, Honaiki, died in his prison cell at age 31. You think, what a shit life. What a shit life he lived for those 31 years. So that's my take on that. Hey Star, thanks. We like the Tommy D Simone videos. The crash and carry. Interesting. Yeah, I've encountered times, um, but I have not done them. But that's interesting. I want. Are there any other? If there's any other videos on YouTube, if there's like a documentary on them, I'll watch it. But if it's a content creator, I probably won't watch it because I don't want to repeat anything they say. Yeah, I know the Tellier organization. It's a name I've encountered. I feel like I may have encountered them in an FBI file also. Yeah. No, I know. I've encountered that name, the Tellier organization. I just don't recall. I know I've encountered it. I read so much stuff. Sometimes I see names and it rings a bell, but I can't immediately make a mental recall about what I read about them or what they did or what they're about, so on and so forth. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of these guys who what was their name? Robbed them. So I was actually going to do a story on the couple that was robbing mobsters. I had that when I first started my channel. I was going to do it on Rosemary and what this guy's name is, the couple that was robbing the mobsters in New York. But then they actually came out with a movie called Rob the Mob, and then I just it's been done. Do I think Boy George is getting out? Well, I know, or I speak to people that know him and correspond with him. I speak to some people who were close with him in the streets. I speak to someone who stays in touch with him regularly. And from what I hear, so he was sent to the Supermax in Colorado, basically the worst place on earth. They call it hell on earth, right? Can barely see outside your prison cell. You don't know where you're located in the prison system. It's basically unescapable. You're locked in 23 hours a day. So that's where George is now, and I found out that's because he was involved with gangs in the prison he was in prior. I think it was perhaps Marion in Illinois. So I thought when you were sent to Supermax, you're kind of that's it. They think you're a danger to the prison system, and that's it for you. But actually, people do get sent there as like punishment, and then they get taken out. So I think George is almost done with his time at Supermax in Colorado, and they're going to put him in another federal prison. Maybe he gets another chance. Maybe he flies straight. Maybe he doesn't get involved with gangs. Maybe he does. I mean, it's going to all depend on that. Tommy the Hitman. Marvin Hagler, that's my guy. They're both my guys, Hitman and Hagler. But hey, Hagler beat the Hitman. Mormon polygamist. Hagler's one of my favorites ever. He's like top 3 favorite. Just a beast. The Hot Feet Rockers, 83rd and Cortona. Sister crew of Rocksteady Crew. I don't know about the Hot Feet Rockers. Are we talking just breakdancing here, or did these guys do some criminal stuff too? I got Canelo. I think Canelo's too big and strong for Crawford. Crawford's skills are second to none, but when two very, very highly skilled boxers face each other, size matters. Size and strength matters. If you're bigger and stronger, but you're much less skilled than your opponent, it's not as much much in your favor. But two equally skilled boxers, one's bigger and stronger. I got to go with the bigger, stronger guy. So I'm going Canelo. What's up, Johan Sakasa? I see you in the comments, brother. Thanks for the support. Yeah. Buck 4 was Buck 4 was killed, and Kuriaki. Yeah, I know, but they're mentioned in the Random Family book. I actually was gonna talk about that, but it got a little bit too much off topic. I was trying to just focus on Boy George. I have. It's funny. I keep getting information about a lot of different things. I keep tying back into Boy George. It's funny. I have one story that I want to do. I did the Joey White story, which goes back to Boy George. I did Boy George's story, and then I want to do the Torres brothers story, who were the guys who put on Boy George after Joey White put him on. So I don't know. I don't want to keep doing that. Guilty pleasure, CNC gang. Yeah, thank you, man. You know, it's funny. I really it's one of my most accomplished projects. I feel very satisfied about how that project came out because I got a lot of inside help for that one, and I was able to build the story about Calderon and Couson that nobody knew, and I got pictures nobody has seen, and um, I was able to tell things, tell people things that nobody knew about Calderon, and I'm very happy with that one. I'm very satisfied with that one as well. Thank you. It's one of my most proud accomplishments. Street stories. I worked extensively with a couple people who were very knowledgeable. Let's just say that. Oh, I got to check that out. Pirate did a interview with Queen's Flip. Damn, I didn't do that. What's good with the Tony Montana piece? We talking are we talking about a Tony Montana I don't know about? Or are we talking about Al Pacino's Tony Montana? What do I think of Fat Joe? Well, Fat Joe is oh, the Tony Montana that was with Fat Joe. Yeah, I know he was killed, and I never really looked into that, but I know Tony Montana that was down with Terror Squad, and Fat Joe always shouted him out in his songs. I don't know much about him, why he was killed. I don't know what his real name is either, but I could probably find it. And oh, is no wait, not no. There's a Tony Montana from the Bronx. There might be one from Queens. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people have used that name. What do I think of Fat Joe though? Back to what Petey asked me. I was a big fan of Fat Joe's music from not necessarily his first album. His first album was okay. It was really the single "You Got to Flow Joe" was the best song on the album. It was "Jealous One's Envy" that came out in '94 or '95. One of my favorite albums at the time. Then he dropped Don Cartagena '98, phenomenal album. And then the album after that, Jealous One Still Envy, that was great. And then there was one after that, I can't remember the name of it. That was also great. So he had four really hot albums. And I fucked with him back then. So I liked his music. But the stories he's been telling a lot of stories. He's been telling a lot of stories online on YouTube and on Instagram and about things he did, and uh, some of them sound hard to believe. Some of them sound far fetched. Some of the stories sound basically almost impossible. You know, he robbed his whole gym with 70 kids. He robbed all of them. Sometimes I think he's joking. You know what I mean? So my pops always told me that a man he is willing to hurt somebody over false pride is a yeah. So Fat Joe, you know, I don't know Fat Joe. I personally sometimes I think Fat Joe tells the stories because he just doesn't give a fuck what people think, and he almost wants to do it so people hate on him. I mean, I don't know. That could just be a way for him to say, "Look, I don't care what people say or think about me." But who's gonna believe that you robbed your entire gym, 70 kids, with and robbed all of them? What? That it's impossible. 70 kids. But Don Cartagena is his best album. That's where Big Pun was all over it. Big Pun, he introduced Big Pun to the world, so he was a force in music, that's for sure. But I don't know about the stories he tells, so and I don't know the man personally, so I know people who know the man personally. So so Johan, I added that story in the. I was very on the fence about whether or not I will mention that. So, Boy George, Fat Joe has repeated the story about Boy George many, many times on YouTube on his channel. He says that Fat Joe, Fat Joe says that he ran into Boy George while he was chasing some other kid for money. He was chasing some kid around a car for money. And Boy George steps in. He's like, "What are you doing here? Get out of here. Who the fuck are you?" And Joe kind of talked smack back, and then Boy George supposedly threatened to kill him and his family. And then the kid he's chasing, like, you know who that is? That's Boy George. Okay, so that's the story. And Boy George has repeated it several times. Now, I didn't know what to. I couldn't make heads or tails of the story, but I decided to add it in my Boy George story. But I worded it very carefully. I worded it with words with like alleged and claims and this and that, just because I thought it might add a little bit of familiarity to people who know who Fat Joe is. It may add a little bit to the tale. Whether or not it's true, you know, that I don't know. But I did speak to somebody who I did ask somebody about that who was tight with Boy George. And I said, listen, that story that Fat Joe says about Boy George, this is like, is that true? This was after I posted my Boy George series. He goes, and his response was funny. So I asked him and I say, um, so the story that Fat Joe told about him and running into Boy George and George threatening him, is that true? So the guy that I asked, he responds, he goes, and his response just answered the question. And he goes, was this after the story where he spoke about robbing the entire hood? And he put a question mark at the end. And I just said, all right, I get it. So yeah, it was a sarcastic remark, and I was laughing. I was like, all right, I get it. So apparently he doesn't think it happened. Life magnetic. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. I write and read a lot, so I hope I speak properly. That's good to know. Thank you. Tommy Mickens. Wait, there's another Mickens. Who's the other Mickens? Yeah, thank you. The Variali family. The shirt I had on the other day. No, I don't have a J. Rue. The shirt. You might be thinking of Duck Down. The Duck Down records that they were Boot Camp Click, Black Moon. Yeah, I had Duck Down records. I don't have a J. Rule, although I know J. Rule. Me and J. Rule are cool. We used to be at the same bar together. He used to come to the bar that I worked at a lot, and we spoke all the time. Yeah, the song Rewind. That's a great song. That's Stillmatic. I remember that song well. Yeah, so I felt that I should keep going backwards. The way the story was structured, I felt like it would be interesting to tell it going backwards. I thought about starting from the back and going forwards, starting from 1917 and then going but I felt like it felt right to rewind it. Corruption was good. Corruption connection in the building. Um, yeah, J. Rue's album, "The Sun Rises in the East," is one of the best albums of all time. Best is one of my favorite hip hop albums. And J. Rue, for a period of time, even J. Rue's cameos were just outrageous. Everything he dropped was fire. He was on the Crooklyn Dodgers remix, great verse. Uh, the problem is his albums afterwards didn't hold the same weight as his first, and the ones after that, especially not. But he's actually popular overseas. He still drops albums, but Nobody listens to them really in the U.S. anymore, but they sell overseas. And Croatia, he said he's in Croatia a lot. He said he's always in Croatia. I guess he's popular. England, Germany. He's always performing in Germany, so he still sells albums out there. But the U.S. is not a market for him anymore. I don't think. All right, all right. Take care. Chayation. Yeah, I had a lot of hip hop shirts in high school. I was hip hop was my life in high school. That was all I cared about. Edgar Berlanga, well, knocking your first 15 opponents out in the first round or 13 or whatever it was is no small feat. Even though you're not fighting really serious guys, these guys are grown men in your weight class, and a lot of them had some boxing experience. And to knock them out in the first round is pretty a rare feat. But you look what happened once he started stepping up in competition, right? And he knocked 15 people out in the first round, and then I think he went the distance for like the next 5 fights. So I don't know what happened. But he's a really tough kid. He's a tough kid, and he survived against Canelo. I mean, Canelo was just showing him how much better he was than him, and Berlanga lasted the entire thing. So Vito Genovese's social club is still standing. Are you talking about the Palmer Boy Social Club? Or are you talking about Alto Knights? Which one are you talking about? Jerry De La Paz. So, Saz did not die in that shootout. He actually died in what the records that I found. Andre Saz died in 2010, and the shootout was in '97. So, I think maybe there was some health issues resulting from that shootout that he later died from, but he didn't directly die in that shootout. How do you know about Andre Saz? Were you part of RX-7? So anyone that's unfamiliar, RX-7 Posse was a car club in the Bronx, and some of them they expanded to a bigger car club called Rolling Thick, and some members of the Rolling Thick crew were stealing cars, but most of them were just a car club. You were boys with Andre Saz? You know what? If you could send me a message, Jerry, I'd be interested to ask you some questions. If you could send me a message on Instagram, on my Brazen Breeds Instagram, we could talk about that. Um, that's I have some questions for you because I thought he might have died in that shootout, but I found that his death wasn't until 2010. So I don't know. I have the records, and what's your favorite Mob Deep song off the Infamous? You can only pick one. Um, you know what? As much as I love Shook Ones, it's got to be, "Hey, yo, Queens, get the money, long time, no cash. We caught up in the hustle where the guns go blast. It's the RAPPBI D. Queen. Um, yeah. So what the hell's the name of that song? Hey, yo, Queens, get the money, long time, no. Give up the goods or get sprayed. There you go. Give up the goods is my favorite song off Infamous. Because all these young niggas trying to shorten my rope. Yo, it's the RAPPERNOYD. Niggas can't fuck. That's my shit, bro. But I also like man, that whole album is ridiculous. That's the shit too. Cradle to the Grave with Nas is outrageous. But you know what? when I was trying to see if I could find the picture.
Let's lift each other up. Enjoy 2 times.
So I gotta say, it was Survival of the Fittest, Give Up the Goods, and Shook Ones were my three favorite on the album. But the whole album is outrageous. It's a trick question. Um, yeah, it's hey, thanks, George Lopez. Thank you. Hell on Earth, even better. I Hell on Earth was classic, but I wouldn't be able to say I like it better than the Infamous. It's a great album though. I was actually just listening to that album a few days ago. It got some really good cameos on there. Some posse tracks. I mean, the production of the Infamous, the rhymes, Prodigy was at his peak. Prodigy fell off like hard after Hell on Earth, if you ask me. He fell off hard. Like I just couldn't get with his rhymes anymore. I don't know what happened to his skills. It was like he could do no wrong on the Infamous and Hell on Earth. But then after that, he just was like, what is this? I didn't really. By then, I wasn't really into. I wasn't really into it. HNIC. I wasn't really into it. Although Big Noid had a good album, or was it EP actually? It was only like 8 tracks. Yeah, I do got tees and hats coming. I'll let you guys know when that's out. I do got Brazen Breeds gear coming, and I have a website I'm working on. So I got Brazen Breeds. It's going to be fire stuff. In '90s, hip hop was really my thing. I don't. I stopped. I really kind of stopped listening to hip hop about 10 years ago. I got less and less and less. I just started losing my interest in it. Maybe it comes with the way it hip hop changed from the essence of hip hop kind of changed to the drill and the trap. And I'm not, every every music goes through phases and transformations, but I couldn't get with it. And then and generally I stopped messing with it. Mod Haven one day now after watching the videos. Hey, listen, Mott Haven is still a rough area, man. It still has, you can still feel the remnants of the crack era there. It really hasn't fully recovered. Soul music, yeah, I don't, once I got of a certain age, I found that I wasn't really into the hip hop lyrics anymore. The beats are still hard. I still appreciate it, the vibes, but just not into the lyrics of hip hop anymore. I'm tired of hearing. I don't want to hear about guns and bitches and drug dealing and shit. You know what I'm saying? When I was 17, 18, 19, it's fine, but Fresh Direct, yeah. There's a Fresh Direct right around the corner from my crib. Funk My Soul, yeah. I listen to soul. I listen to R&B. I really like. Sometimes I fire up Curtis Mayfield. Sometimes I fire up uh, 70s era R&B, 60s era R&B. And sometimes this is gonna sound crazy, but sometimes I even fire up big band music from the 30s and 40s. That old really old kind of Godfather music. Hey George, thank you, man. Hopefully one day I'll get that break. I could get this stuff on Netflix. All they need to do, all they need to do is send me a camera crew, and I'll make something for Netflix. I stopped using the professional camera for my videos on YouTube because these the smaller cameras or sometimes the phone cameras have become so advanced that the quality it's about 5 times the work to get a cameraman and use the camera and and hold it, and the battery life is shorter. You have to bring equipment for it. Sometimes you can get these miniature cameras or a GoPro, and it does the trick, man. So I love Louis Armstrong. Hell yeah, Louis Armstrong, um, Billie Holiday. What else have I listened to? Duke Ellington, and I like liquid drum and bass, and I like certain kind of relaxing uh, house music now. I like that stuff. Hey, thanks, Johan. I'm glad that it feels real. That's why I go there. Yeah, you start to feel the aggression in hip hop. You start to feel that it's a little bit aggressive. You start to feel the lyrics are a little aggressive. And when you get to a certain age, especially if you've been through that aggression, all the street shit, in your life, and if you've been through a lot of drama and fist fights and bar fights and shit like that, you're like, I had enough of this hardcore shit. I need to relax my soul. So I listen to anything that'll relax me. That's it. Everything I listen to is for the relax factor, and just hip hop lyrics aren't it for me anymore. So I never thought I would say that actually. I listen to hard hip hop sometimes when I gotta if I want to work out or something, do something aggressive. But you know, 90s hip hop is was a magical era. I will never you'll never hear me turn off a 90s hip hop song. I mean, I listen to it still all the time, and I still rhyme lyrics when it comes on, and shit is amazing. But in my middle age, I listen to more smooth stuff now. You know what I mean? Which one from YTC? I don't listen to drill or trap anymore. But if you noticed, I have been using drill instrumentals for a lot of my videos. I do like the instrumental drill and trap stuff because it's it's kind of dark and fast paced, and it kind of fits the street stories that I'm telling. So, but I don't listen to it. I don't listen to I wouldn't listen to like a drill or trap album. You know, Pichenga. Who's Pichenga? Talking about from YTC. Pichenga? Are you talking about Chango? Oh, I don't know who Pachenga is. I got another. I'll be shooting in Harlem very soon. I got another video halfway done. I found out my man Pachenga. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. No, not Rich Porter. Not Rich Porter or AZ. Not Rich Porter, AZ or Alpo. Yeah, Chango. What about Chango? Django's a smart guy. Smart guy. Django's a very savvy, Smart guy, knows the streets. Um, well, I feel like the West Coast um, has its own thing. Every region of America and of any country has their own culture, has their own style, their own lingo, their own way of doing things. The West Coast, uh, I mean, they probably do have the same kind of characters, but they are portrayed differently, right? I guess it seems like someone's a little bit more gangster if he's from the streets of the Bronx rather than driving. He has a Jerry curl in Compton, but at the end of the day, they're probably just as gangster, but they just come across differently to the public, right? It's just like it's just like hip hop, different genres. There's the West Coast hip hop that was soulful and had all the George Jesus. What's up with my memory today? George, what's his name? You know what I'm talking. Who I'm talking about? With the funky sound, and New York had the hard Rakim and Nas and Jay Z rap. So it's just two different styles. Yeah, people love Ice Cube, but I'm not gonna say I'm a huge. I love some Ice Cube songs, but I was not a big fan. He's not like on my top 10 or anything. I know people like him a lot. He did do his thing in the rap game, but he's not one of my favorites. Like I would take Cool G Rap over Ice Cube. I'll take Rakim over Ice Cube. 100 miles of running, shit. Would I ever? 100 miles and running. I would take all my favorite albums are my top 10. I think in my top 10, there's one West Coast album. Well, one of my top 10 favorite albums is Cypress Hill's first album. Fucking classic. Cypress Hill's first album was one of my. I ran that. I ran that cassette, and I wore the numbers and letters off that tape. I played it so much. Brazen Breeze is a dope ass name. How you think of that? What's funny is that someone else asked me that, and one day I was sitting down thinking of. I like. I always found the word brazen. I like that word brazen, and I liked like in when we used to make like handles for whatever website it was. If I was like on a message board, a lot of times I noticed that I would use two words with the same first two letters, and you know, um, if I picked a word, the first word started with CR, the second word would be like CR. Crow and crap, just fucking around. But I was I just thought of a word that would go with brazen, and I said, yeah, brazen breeds. Brazen breeds. It's a breed of brazen people. That's like that nails it. So I always had this weird thing. So I have this way my brain works. Very particular about certain things. I guess it shows in my videos, but I'm very meticulous with the nomenclature of anything. Like when it comes to naming something, giving something names, I have if it doesn't hit perfectly in my brain, it bothers me. So alliteration. No, I think alliteration, if I'm not mistaken, is not necessarily. Well, yeah, alliteration in general, yeah. But if I'm thinking of two words that match each other with the first two same letters, I'm not sure that has a name. Naming convention. Is it just a weird thing of my naming convention, the way I name things? I don't know. Yeah, alliteration. I think alliteration is okay. So it's funny. It would probably match alliteration because I do tend to do that. I do tend to do that where I kind of play this game with my lady where I kind of just talk illiterately, literally, not illiterately. I'll just make a sentence with a bunch of words that all sound similar. So, but I guess it would probably be the closest thing to how I think. Yeah, alliteration. So Brazen Breeds is I got my website up, but I haven't started designing it. And I'm coming out with some gear, basic stuff, nothing crazy. Couple hats, shirts, tees. Yeah, and now it's basically it's become my nickname now, Brazen. So that's exactly it. And to top it off, I didn't want to think of the reason Brazen Breeds resonated with me was because it's also pretty general. Like you could be a brazen breed, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a gangster, right? You could be a brazen breed and be a graffiti writer. You could be a brazen breed and be a mobster, a drug dealer, a kingpin. You could be a boxer. A boxer could be brazen. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, thanks, Charles. You'll never see me or hear me use AI, and then you'll never ever. I will never use Chat GPT ever. There's not a single line in any of my videos that came from Chat GPT. Not one. I didn't even know how to use it until like 3 months ago. I started using um, a AI, the one on Facebook and the Messenger. There's an AI tool. So I've been using it to help me create my thumbnails. If I can't find the right picture, I would have it, but I will never use it for diction, for writing, no, never, for a title, nothing. Fuck Chat GPT. You know what people are doing? You know what? What another channel did is that he downloaded one of my scripts. He downloaded a script. So if you look, if with the in the subtitle section, you'll see the entire all the captions in my video or any video. If you have the captions on, it'll have a transcript of the entire everything that was said in the video. Some channel downloaded that and then plugged it into Chat GPT to rephrase everything, to paraphrase it, and then just uploaded it like it was his own video. Yeah, so I had a talk with that dude, and I had a little talk with him because it wasn't the first time he did that. So is that when the people are muting the word killed or murdered? They're using words like unalived and deleted. I don't understand how. I don't get that. I mean, YouTube is like What is this fucking G-rated Disney channel? You can't say the word killed or murdered. Like, come on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe some channels are doing it because I don't. I'm not sure why they would do that. To be honest, I got to figure out why they do that because you're allowed to say killed, murdered. You're allowed to. Maybe they're doing it because they want to get more advertising, and the advertisers don't want to advertise on any video that says the word kill or murder or has anything violent. But hey, what are you gonna do? Tory, man, there's a lot. There's a lot of them. There's a lot. It's a whole list. It's a whole list of people I've struggled to get information on. There's a whole list of people that don't even have. I can't find any records on. Some of them were only in the country for a short amount of time. They're from other places: Puerto Rico, DR, Colombia. They weren't born in the U.S. They don't have records in the U.S. And if it's not like on the indictment, on a public indictment, then I really don't. I usually can't get enough information on that because the NYPD really is difficult to deal with. They won't give you case files because if it's older than like 2000 or 2005, 2010, they won't give you case files because they haven't digitized them. All right, folks. So I'm about to log off. I'm about to log off, folks. Thanks for joining this live. I keep saying this, but I'm gonna do a live somewhere. All right, Johan, be good. I'll see you on the comments. Hey, thanks, Tori. And I'm about to run, but I'll be back. I'm gonna start trying to do more lives from public locations in the Bronx and Brooklyn or whatever else. So next time you see me, I'll probably be on the streets doing a live, and maybe I'll be with someone else. Hopefully, I got a special guest that I might be working with soon. So take care, folks. Peace, one love. Check out my channel for something new in the next 2-3 weeks. Later.